Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I posted because I've been up to a lot in the last 1 year. I relocated to the UK recently, and let me tell you guys, it's the best decision I've ever made. I'm thriving, and I hope to give you tips and my experience of the several steps I had to take to finally land here. So I'm going to give you a breakdown on some of the processes I went through from the time I started the process up to the time I finally landed in the UK. Today, I will tell you about my IOM experience, and guys, it was not a joke. I think it was one of the moments in my life where I felt extremely anxious. If you've ever relocated to the US, Canada, Australia, or whichever country, you know most probably you did a TB test, which is mandatory as part of your visa application. IOM is the only center authorized to do the TB testing and certification. The Home Office will probably not accept results from anywhere else. So I did my test in March 2023. I first booked an appointment through their website at so I did my test in end of March 2023. I first booked an appointment through their website at kenya.iom.int. Under health and services, I went to the UK pre-departure tuberculosis detection program and selected an online appointment and registration. On there, I went to register as a new applicant. Have your UK contact details at hand, more specifically the address, because they're going to ask you for that and you really need it. After booking the date, please disregard the appointment time and show up early in the morning. I repeat, do not care about the appointment time. Be there by 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. if you can. The queue there is crazy and it's on first come, first serve basis. So don't show up if it's not your appointment date because you're probably not going to be served. The security guards at the gate have a list of clients to be served for that particular day, and if your name is not on there, you'll have to wait for everybody else to be served. Carry your passport and a face mask. I think nowadays it's not mandatory, but it's just good to carry yours because most of the time in there you're not sure who you're going to encounter. Some of the people might have TB, so it's just nice to carry your own mask. So once your name has been checked and it's on the list, you're given a name tag depending on what brought you there and a number. You'll be triaged in a small room just next to the gate, and your temperature will be taken and recorded. You're going to proceed to another desk with a security guard and a list, and you record your given number and your passport number. From there, you'll be settled in a waiting room. You're going to be settled in a waiting room where you'll be registered and given payment details. I paid through M-Pesa, and I think at this stage is where you're cancelled and given a consent form to sign. These documents is very important since it gives them permission to proceed with the testing. If you don't give your consent, they won't do the test and you can forget about your visa process. So signing the consent is not mandatory, but it's an important step for you to go ahead to the next stage of the testing. So after you've signed your consent and you've done your payments, your details are then going to be collected. A photo of you is taken, and you're also going to verify your employer's address where a copy of the certificate can be sent if need be. After this stage, you will now be sent to the X-ray waiting area. Your name will be called and you'll be asked to change into a clean gown in a small changing room. Your luggage will be safe, so you actually don't need to worry about your bag. You go into the room and then wait in there until your name is called out again for you to in for the actual x-ray. In the x-ray room, you'll be given instructions by the radiologist on what to do. He'll probably tell you to open up your chest by breathing in hard and holding your breath with your arms stretched out, most of the time hugging the x-ray equipment. So this stage only takes a minute, nothing much longer. So after that, you're back to the changing room. You'll wait inside the doctor's room, who will ask you several questions regarding your past medical history and if you've taken any tests before at IOM. I personally didn't have any significant past medical history, so I honestly had nothing to disclose. So at this stage, I was sent back to the results waiting area. Some of my colleagues were actually asked to go back in for another x-ray to be taken. So don't be surprised if you're asked to go back for a second round of an x-ray. Maybe the image didn't come out as clear as they wanted, and for proper reading to be done, it has to be clear. So don't worry about that. So, guys, this is where my routine experience turned tragic. It actually took an unexpected turn, and I started getting worried. I was called back in the doctor's office where she showed me my x ray. It had a faint nodular shadow just under my left clavicle on the upper side of my lung. So, my x ray was formally abnormal. She asked me again if I've ever had TB or ever been treated for TB. I said no. She also asked me if I've had a cough for the last 2 weeks or more. I said no. Or if I had more than 10% weight loss in the last few months. I said no. Another question she asked is if I had any night sweat, and I also said no. She told me that I need to confirm if I had TB, and the only way to do that is to have a sputum culture done. I went to IOM very early in the morning before breakfast for 3 consecutive days because I wanted to get on with it. Submitting a sputum test is a chore. Oh lordy. I always went back home with a sore throat and a hoarse voice because of how much coughing I had to do to get the sputum out. I had to submit 5 ml of sputum in a plastic cup under the laboratory technician's observation. The whole test takes up to 8 weeks from the last day of your sputum submission, so I had to be patient. While I was waiting, I went ahead to do the other tests privately just to be sure on what to expect after 8 weeks. I did Gene Expert, which is a molecular TB test, and also did the urine LAM, both of which turned negative. So after 8 weeks, I was called by IOM, and they informed me that the results are out. I was given a badge at the door and directed to the waiting area where my name was called out, and I was given my certificate, which means I didn't have TB. Guys, I almost cried because it was a beautiful moment for me. I'm so glad things turned out fine in the end, despite going through all that. I know there's some people whose results turned positive for TB, and I wouldn't pretend to understand how that feels because it's crushed dreams, or it means you're going to take over 8 months before you can travel. After you're finalized or finished the 6 months course of TB treatment, you still have to take another 8 weeks for the sputum tests and results to come out. So it's a really long wait. And if the employer is probably not willing to wait for you that long, you may probably lose your chance to getting that job. So it's really tragic if it turns positive. And nobody tells you that. Everybody just goes in there and they hope that everything will turn out okay. You'll get out of there with your TB certificate, but it's actually a hassle and an anxious moment when things don't turn out the way you want them to turn out. Most of the time, if everything goes well, you receive your certificate the same exact day that you do your chest x-ray, and you can submit your results to your employer and probably go ahead with the visa process. If not, you still have to wait for the results to be out because you need the certificate to actually apply for your visa. If you're coming to the UK, you have to go through the test. There's no any other way out. So I want to encourage everybody who's going through the test and you're still in your waiting period for the x-ray results, everything is going to turn out fine. And if not, there's still other mechanisms and there are other support mechanisms that's put in place for you to get treatment and still come back and have the test done. And if all is well and you're negative for TB, you can proceed with the application for your visa. So I wish everybody all the best. Thank you so much for keeping me company in this video, and we'll see you again soon with another journey story.